Hello, hi, and welcome again to the Terminal Podcast, where in the end, it's all about the numbers. Tonight's podcast is looking back to the 2018 original publication of the Rap Debut Album Tournament, or the RDAT. Tonight's featured podcast is the semifinals in the groups bracket, brought to you by our corporate champion, Prescription Drugs. Regardless of your ailment, if the list of possible side effects lasts longer than the benefits that they talk about in the ad, then you know you got that real good stuff. That wooski that was $50 the other day, but now it's 65 because it got a $15 plane ticket from LA. We're going to introduce our guest from my right to left with where they're calling from and which, if any, side effects once you're listening that you hear that jumps off the list when you hear it. That's just that jumps out. Rashawn?
Calling from College Park, and one that always catches my ear is may cause death.
They do that one. They do that one.
Yeah.
Dan?
Calling in from Fairlawn, New Jersey. And the one I always hear that you don't want to hear is the anal leakage.
They do have the
Yes.
anal leakage. They do have the anal leakage.
Yeah.
Matt?
Calling in from Lawrenceville, and Dan just stole my anal leakage. Because, I mean, do you really want to take something that gives you anal leakage?
The possibility.
Seriously.
It's possible. It's possible. It's not guaranteed, but
When I hear possible, I think probable. And that's
yeah,
a problem, dog. This
you'd
might
think
cause your
that.
death or your anal leakage.
You'd think that. Kenny?
Calling in from McDonough, and always get a kick out of hearing excessive vomiting. That's always pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
I
Yeah.
always like when they say, "Don't take it if you're allergic to
How do I know?
You only know until you take it.
You won't know until you take it, and then
it." It's too
by
late.
then, and by then it's too late. So yeah, exactly. All right, it's too late to say I can't. You, I. This is the semifinals of the group bracket, and I haven't listed where this is the debut album from OutKast, as I say this from their backyard, Southern Playalistic Cadillac. Funky music. And it's a dark horse as far as I'm concerned, but it's like a three seed dark horse, almost like it's a oh, actually do have the sports references if I'll use them here as far as I'm concerned. Uh this is the Iverson, it's basically the Iverson 001 Sixers. You could take that Iverson team or the Iverson team on Georgetown when it was him and what was it, Eric Snow and Jerome Williams that one year that they went really deep in the tournament. Um, that's my analogy for the Mos Def and Black and Talib Kweli are Black Star. That it's the Iverson analogy. It's Mos Def is basically Iverson, and we're gonna throw everything around him as best as we can against the 95 Magic, which is OutKast in that rookie album where Penny's the better prepared. Penny of the two of them at that moment is the better prepared to play basketball at that level. But Shaq's coming, and you get a sense of it, and he's coming and everything like that. Those are the two albums that I'm talking about, or will be talking about today, and I've stolen all this time. Um, I'm gonna start with the because I we can't start without looking back before we start looking forward. I'm going to start with the 95 Source Awards, and the South has got something to say. The famous Andre line. They were up for Album of the Year. Anybody want to take a guess of the other three albums that were up for Album of the Year? 95 Source Awards. We're all correct. We're all in agreement. This is the 95 Source Awards. Okay. All right.
Ready to die.
Ready to die.
Ready to Die. Ready to Die is the winner. So that there's only four. So Ready to Die, Southern Playalistic, two more. It's honestly it's difficult as far as I'm concerned.
95.
Yeah,
I'm
because
trying to,
that's the problem. That's the problem. Because one of them is Illmatic. I don't think that came out in that year, but
Oh no,
Not even
I went
close.
wasn't that
so
like 90?
yeah.
leave it
Yeah.
to the source to have like crazy dates for that
Right.
fucking
And
Almost a
album
and
year from 4 years
that don't
ago.
fit.
exactly. And the other one was Scarface in the Diary, which I'm not certain if
Oh,
that comes out in that year either, but those are the four that were up from album of the
Oh
year.
boy.
So they at least
I wouldn't pick that
recognize
one.
that, well, so
Right.
Ready to Die wins, right? And so artist the whole so South's got something to say. The new artist of the year is what they win for the South's got something to say. Here's who they're up against. Bone Thugs and Harmony, Ill and Al Scratch, Smith and Wesson, OutKast. And your winner is.
I mean, I can anybody tell me two songs that Illinois Scratch had? I mean, I know two of them, but can anybody tell me more than two? And I like
No,
them.
because
Blank
I did
stares.
too. I like Dylan
that's
Scratch.
what I'm
Dylan
saying.
Scratch.
I'm
I can't remember the name of the one Ill and Al Scratch song. Is it Where My Homies?
Where my homies.
We're my homies,
So
and I'll
what's the
take
other
her.
one?
I'll take her.
I'll take her,
Okay.
Okay. Oh, that's
which
what
was my shit
I'll
back then.
take
I will
her.
say, I'll say
Yeah,
that. But
that was a banger.
yeah,
Okay. Smith and Wesson's been in this tournament because I did enjoy that album, but I can understand if you're gonna go Smith and Wesson and Outkast, but I was never a big Bone Thugs and Harmony. So that's why I say it, and it's just like I don't
Yeah, they were just different. Like
yep.
I think that was like the big hook with them. They were different. They were doing it differently, and
hmm
that was like, oh wow, look at this. This is cool.
Well,
It's it's
I'll
new and
have you
shiny.
I'll have
And
you
those,
put a
those,
pin.
those
I'll have you put
Then
a
you
pin in
had
that
you
word.
had
they had
where
hits. That's the thing too.
Yeah,
yep, we're so accustomed to having like like hip hop is like East Coast, and then branch down to West Coast. Then you got Cleveland, Ohio, right?
Right.
hmm
So there's that, and that's the other thing about the thing that I was going to talk about. Outcast was Outcast representation from this whole region that's never really been represented before, right? And then the sound was dope and it was different too. Plus, you had that whole like that pull from the South. So I think that would played a major part in like in them winning and then their continued success. And then they're just fucking talented too. So
Yeah. There's that, it's that sound. It's kind of is that
mhm.
organized noise. This is their baby. This is their first sort of
Mhm.
breakout. It's like as a sound machine coming from Atlanta. On the other side, um, as we were talking about different, 96 Philadelphia Half-Life is the third Roots album. They're at the Source Awards because Questlove has talked about being at that award show and all the craziness that happened and everything. But Philadelphia Half-Life is sort of when the creation of what will then be called the Soulquariums kind of takes place. You got D'Angelo, Questlove, Jay Dilla, and so many artists that we would call the new native tongue kind of touch Soulquarians in some way, somehow between 97 and 2002. This era kind of officially ends with the Dave Chappelle Block Party, which if you haven't seen that, it's like tearful just kind of seeing that whole side of music and everything like that. Just but
Yeah.
so with that being said, um, which which do you think had the greater overall influence? The organized noise, Southern sort of changing that pace of the style of music, or the Son of Soulquarium side of it, where that kind of different sound kind of came from. Kenny, you understand what I'm asking?
I do, and my answer would be Outkast. and Organized Noise. I think their legacy is a little more lasting than Soulquarian, mainly because OutKast pretty much birthed a whole bunch of other Southern rappers that came after a while after them. So that would be my answer.
When you say that, Matt, you kind of are nodding. Who do you kind of feel it was birthed because Outkast came out? I mean, yeah, but Goody Mob doesn't count because they were gonna come. They were, Goody Mob's
I,
in in Southern Playlistic. I could hear CeeLo and Gip and anyway, but go ahead, Matt.
I think more than anything, number one, I 100% agree with Kenny.
Mm,
Number two, I think more than anything, I think it's the the sound, the culture, just that. I think that just it births just different artists being able to say, you know what, I don't sound like anybody else like up north. I sound like me. And Outkast made it popular to sound for me to be comfortable, for me to be able to sound like myself with
Absolutely.
hip hop. And it's not like, and I'm not even loving a ton of like a ton of Southern rap because I don't love a ton of it. I do like a lot of it, but I'm not really vibing off some of the artists. But it's just the fact that Outkast was like, okay, this is Southern culture. This is us, how we live, how we represent ourselves. I think people listened to that and they vibed off of that and they like felt comfortable enough to be able to like do their own thing. And in some cases, like do that have their own sound apart from Organized Noise. You know what I'm saying? Just be able to be comfortable with the kind of style that you have. So I think, and from that perspective, I think Outkast um had a much longer lasting effect.
I was gonna say, and you kind of stole what I was gonna ask next, but I'll try it anyway. So, Rashad, did the sound? I was gonna say this is what I have written down. Did the sound stay or the search and acceptance of hip hop from different locations? So I guess which did actually last longer because did the sound that Organized Noise kind of burst that sort of that you it's a different sound. I can't describe it, but I mean it's kind of thing you can hear it. Or so
You
did
know when you
that
hear
stick
it.
around longer, or the acceptance of hip hop, like Matt was saying, from another location that wasn't New York? Which one was I mean, basically, because that's continued on. So how long would you say the Organized Noise sound lasts, or is it still in existence?
I think it's still in existence. Of course, like all things, it moved and didn't
Mhm.
sound the same and evolved. But and the acceptance thing, like you said, is still going on today. Um, but I think the sound, Organized Noise sound laid the groundwork for acceptance from like all the rest of the Southern hip hop artists, right? Like we got, and this kind of ties into acceptance too, but New Orleans bounce music came
Yep.
after that, and it was like, you like this kind of funky sound, da 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 da, but listen to this high tempo, high
Hmm.
energy thing from New Orleans, and you're like, oh yeah, I like that too.
Yep.
And we still get some of that. And Drake just sampled, some of that not too long ago. But that sound also, like, Atlanta took that sound and made it more of like the R&B, because like West Coast is funk, right? It's like
Mm.
real funky, whereas Atlanta makes more of the R&B sampling more acceptable. Um,
Closer towards the baby face and the southern sort of
right.
Memphis, I guess. Yeah, I get what you're trying to. I mean, yes, is the short answer, and the difference in the sound. And no, I was gonna say, but no, it was that it was different, and it was specifically different to that kind of a location, and that you're all saying that the acceptance of it allowed for other sounds to come out,
Yep.
like the Soulquariums, like we were saying, like the Roots, who were finally able, because the Roots existed prior to that, but then we were able to listen to the Roots, but they kind of hit it in '97 with Things Fall Apart, and then Erica drops Mama's Gun. This is Soulquarium touch. And then there's Common, and then there's Late Q-Tip. And while he's not directly linked, I'd argue Kanye's within that within that Soulquarium sort of feel. So Dan, who would you say, or is Black Star the best out of all of that?
Oh, well, it's hard. Well, no, probably
No, it's
not.
not easy, but go ahead.
It's really like it's real. I love that album. It's really, really good. The challenge is like, we put them up against the Roots. Like the Roots collective, like their collective catalog is pretty incredible, pretty hard. Like this is one
Mhm.
album that is pretty
And I
great. And then, Mos Def had a couple other things that were great. Telequili had some things that were okay, but like not. I don't think that compares to the Roots. I think similarly, like if you take it away, if you're zooming out of just rap and you're talking about like what Erica Badu was doing, I don't know that this album is way better than like that like Erica Badu, Jill Scott stuff that was happening at that same time. I mean, it's different stuff. I do think the Soulquarian thing was like more of like a moment in time thing. Like it was a really cool thing. A very cool like the story of them is great. Like just the artist collective and inspiring each other and like with throw D'Angelo into that and then again
mhm.
that D'Angelo record is probably the best one of all of those if I'm thinking about it. And then the Atlanta stuff. It was I think. I mean, Rashawn was getting at it, but there's some distinctness, but you can probably more easily draw a line between like the West Coast sound, like even in like Oakland, LA, to what was happening in this early Atlanta stuff, to what like where the Manny Fresh stuff was happening in New Orleans. Like it's got that funk R&B
Well,
underlying stuff to it, and then it was more about like how they like it was the artists themselves that made it more regional. And I think eventually the sounds evolved too, but like OutKast sounds distinctly more Atlanta than the Oakland guys sound like. Even if the music sounds similar, the rapping is not. And
Hmm.
I think that's what the legacy there is. Like you planted the flag at that time. I mean, we got there too. Like it was at first hip hop was just New York, and then it was a little bit all right. Well, now LA is here too, and then it's like okay, look, there's actually all these other places that have been doing hip hop for a long time, and then now you're getting like you know, oh, besides like the Ghetto Boys early on from like Houston, you didn't get like very much regional stuff. It was now you get like, okay, Atlanta's a real thing. And that opened the
and
door for Atlanta dominating the hip hop scene for
and
quite a long time.
and that
Like the
is
Soulquarians didn't do that. Like it just was a cool moment in time where like artist collective got together and made a cool sound, created some great art, and then stuff moved on.
And Dan, you just hit it too. Like
Yeah.
of all the things like produced by Soulquarians, if you want to include like Bilal and D'Angelo and Jill Scott, Brown Sugar was probably the greatest album. Uh, I think for I think for me, in my opinion, it was the best album of that entire group. Like bar none. That's hip hop, that's R&B, just it's flawless.
I love
You know what I
Things
mean?
Fall
So
Apart, but yes,
okay,
I
no, no, no.
understand. No, I understand exactly what you're saying. You're 100% correct. Brown Sugar is a masterpiece, but yeah,
Yeah, no, I agree with you too on that, Martin. Things fall apart. It's just for me. I mean, when I first heard the Roots, it's just like you're. I had never heard like a hip hop group use music, and it's like real music, like real musicians playing music and incorporating that into the sound, and that being like hip hop, and then you add that with the production, and then like Black Thought like being ridiculous on the mic. It just that was like phenomenal, So I mean,
and
I'm cutting the line a little bit, and I apologize, but
oh no,
I I I think Black Star's intro that album was great, but they are not to me that's I don't think they're the best of that soul clearing sound.
okay. I think the next question I'm going to ask is Outcast, as they said, the South got something to say, and I want to say that Cast post Source is 95 to about '01, let's just say, right? Because by then there's the Outcast after that point goes off and there's something more, there's something different and everything. Um, and I could get specific on it, but just the what you all kind of said is they opened the door for in 95 Goody Mob and No Limit and Mystical. And then in 96 you get UGK and Riding Dirty. And then 97, have I mentioned Timberland and Missy Elliott and Super Duper Fly and everything like that. Oh, by the way, 3 6 Mafia. And 98, Outkast comes back with Aquemini. And then you get Juvenile 400 Degrees and Back That Ass Up, which is there was a whole wasn't there a whole movement of white girls saying how that's like their music.
Yes.
You turn that on, they suddenly start dancing. Like, yeah,
Yeah, it was great.
that's
It was great.
that is what and 99 Project Pat and International Players Anthem. I mean, these are some of the things that kind of came from. So it becomes the question of all those things that I named. It's not is Outkast the best of that? Is Southern Playalistic the best album from all of that I just named?
No,
I mean,
how can you say yes? It's not even the best Outcast album, right? Like, I mean, it's very good, and like, it's an interesting. Here's a thought experiment. Like, if they never made another record after that, or if they split up, or if they decided to make a terrible record instead of getting that better heights, like this is still a great record. But where do you land? Where's that live in like someone's legacy
if
if it was just this one thing,
if it's
right? Like
um
it's solid,
I'm
it's great, like, but it's not as good as like it didn't hit the highs commercially and even artistically that like Aquemini and the couple of the other ones did, right? So like even Atlians or whatever, however you say that one is, got
I
bigger
would
songs.
argue now, I would argue flat out because you set up this perfectly, which is Southern Playalistic, if it didn't hit like everything like that, it would still be an Atlanta classic. It would still be played around here at all times and everything like that. Everybody in this city would know it. Um, it would that I missed the point because I was also thinking about the fact that that the Black Star album is this is it though. Because this is like you're saying, this is all they have. They really only truly have this album. There's other tracks and LPs that kind of happen, but not with the same national unprotected push that you kind of got in the early 21st century. You know what I mean? Where it was still able to kind of, and by that I mean like the aughts, like literally just 2000. Like there was sort of a time there right at the very end, and I guess so. Is 99 considered early 21st century or is that late 20th century? How exactly does that work? Does anybody
I'd say late 20.
Yeah.
is late 20? Because
Yeah.
that's when this comes out. Um, you guys will listen. So what do you think are the best tracks on that album? And well, I guess I'll start with that. And how do you think they kind of stand up over a quarter century later? It's basically because you're looking at it from that time period. Matt,
The best tracks on.
Black Star. I'm just gonna call it Black Star because the same Mos Def and Talib Kweli are Black Star continuously. It's just gonna get annoying or use the acronym of it and everything like that. That's just not gonna happen. So it's just
I
gonna be
mean, I
Black Star.
mean, I mean, I'm gonna say what I think most people would say. I mean, like Definition is a dope song. I mean, it just is. I think Definition and like Thieves in the Night, like show Thieves in the Night for me is good because I think you really showcase like how amazing of MCs both of them are. You know what I mean?
That's my
And
favorite
that's one of the
song on
reasons
the
why.
album. That's my favorite song on the album. Go ahead.
What's that? Thieves in the Night?
Yes, These Are the Nights, my favorite song on this
Yeah,
album.
yeah, that song is good. And it's just like it's the storytelling. And I think for them, I think more than like say Outkast, even though Outkast, I mean, they obviously they talk about life in the South, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
with Talib and Mos Def, the whole, I mean, the way they weave things in and out and paint the picture, um, just incredible. I'm taken by like the lyrics, the lyricism of both of them. So I think that for me is those are my two songs, like flat out.
All right. Rashawn, you got anything different from those two or
No, those are definitely two of the highlights. Brown Skin Lady is pretty good too. Um,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, those first two are far and away, in my opinion, the the better tracks.
I think, but before it's also like it was one of the last albums to me that where you had a lot of really like conscious lyrics, and talking about something basically. You don't get that anymore. Um,
Oh, oh, go ahead.
so that's the other thing that struck me about that too.
I'll save that for later on because I have a point of that question. But Dan, they've left you with your track. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I mean, look, I won't disagree with the ones that you like. What I'd add to it, I think Respiration is my favorite one. I've always loved
Mhm.
that one. I like Astronomy Eighth Light also. Just that, but again, I think it comes back like if you want to get to where the storytelling is, the lyricism is, uh, the production sounds like it just sounds like a great New York hip hop song. Like I don't know, like and Martin, we were talking about this before off air, but like if you're comparing these two albums, I feel like you can name any of these like Respiration, Thieves in the Night, Definition. There isn't a song on the OutKast album that is as good as those songs. The whole album, you might be able to say like the sound is cool and everything else, but as individual songs, the Black Star ones are pretty damn great. And like for me, rise a bit above as individual songs and any individual song I heard on the again not any OutKast song ever, but on that particular on Southern Playlistic, etc. That album, right? So that's I mean again, I know we'll get to it. The other thing, Trap, I don't want to get into is like there's a certain like white guy who likes hip hop that you're like supposed to like the conscious lyric stuff. And while again I love this Black Star album, like I'm that's not me. Like it's funny you mentioned this the Smith and Wesson earlier. Like The Shine In was like the tape that I listened to in my car from like for like I didn't want to listen to anything else in my car other than that tape for like all my college years in like 96 through 99, and there's nothing conscious about that album whatsoever, but it's just
Love
that's
that
just
album.
so like I don't want to fall into the trap of like, oh, I wish hip hop had something more to say than
It's not a trap
crime
because
crime stories, but like no, I want the crime
you
stories too. Like I like that stuff too.
but
But
it's
so
saying
you know what I
something
mean.
at the very least within the see you say that, but within the crime stories, you still got a depiction of what was happening in the street for the most part. It was the description of we're able to do these crime stories because we're running past Miss Jenkins' shop on the left because Miss Jenkins is broke. I mean, things like that were put
The
into it.
duality of life.
Exactly. You kind of got that within it. It was saying something, and I guess is I'm not going to be Kenny. Do you want to be the old man yelling at clouds, or to say, or just what is your favorite thought on? I mean, like because that is sort of the whole point. It's like this is. Go ahead, Kenny. Before I go off, your favorite tracks. Any other tracks off it that we haven't said?
Well, I'll go out Knowledge of Self-Determination. That's another favorite of mine too. But I agree with everyone else, especially Dan for mentioning Respiration. I love that joint. So, but yeah, I agree with everyone else.
I
Just to throw that out there real quick, is High Tech underrated as a producer?
a little
That's a
bit.
great question.
I
Good
I
Yes.
question.
almost
Absolutely.
I think you need a
Yes.
specific style for him. I'm sorry. I feel like you need a you can't he's not for everybody, you
No, he's
know.
definitely not for everybody.
All right. So Dan kind of made a point to this, which is, well, I'll just ask this in general so everybody can just get a feeling. So not from Southern Playlists, just period. Your top five, top couple Outcast tracks of all time. Y'all just Anyone,
Oh,
Kenny, you can go first. We'll just
Um,
go around we'll go around until we hit nobody.
till we hit all
Kenny,
of them.
I'm going
Kenny,
to
your
start
top
with
Outcast track.
Bombs Over Baghdad.
You're good
I
with Bob.
love that song.
Rashawn.
Yep.
Dang, he took mine. I'm gonna
I mean,
go
it's
with
got it got to be a top, one of your top Outcast. Just when someone says this is one of the top 5 Outcast tracks, you're like, this has got to be in it. Matt, you got to answer
yeah, I got
while Rashawn's thinking.
that.
Elevators.
Elevators. Dan,
I'll throw in I'm glad.
go ahead, Kenny.
Rosa Parks.
Okay. Yep.
Dan,
Yeah. Sorry, Miss Jackson. That's the name of it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, again, if you can love it or not, but if it's their most popular work, that's got to be on there.
Yeah.
Rashawn.
The art of storytelling.
Is that on a top 5 all time? Everybody's gonna know that
Oh,
Outcast track.
absolutely. It has one of the greatest lines of all time in there. Took my shirt off and said, "Who else want to fuck with Hollywood Court?"
Right.
Say that about 5 times a day.
Well,
All right, so fresh and so clean. That's
Yep.
that is number 2. If I've gone to the Apple Music Outcast
Oh, is
Essentials.
that what you're doing?
What? I'm just going to that now. I wasn't saying that in general, but I'm saying, yeah,
Oh,
we kind of
okay.
hit most of them. Miss Jackson, you just put So Fresh and So Clean. AT Aliens, which is that album's got a whole special place in my whole heart. But Rosa Parks, Bombs
What
Over
about
Baghdad,
Equimini?
Aquemini's on there.
Yeah. Wheels of Steel should be up there too, but
Yeah,
Wheels of Steel, Jazzy Bell.
yeah.
How many of them, and the art of storytelling is on there? So you're right. How many would you think are from Southern Playalistic?
Um,
How many would you put from Southern Playalistic onto
is
that
Players Ball
Essentials
not on
list?
there?
Players
Oh
Ball's
wow, we
on there.
forgot
That's
about Players
one.
Ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, exactly.
I like
Southern
from
Player Listed Cadillac Music should be on there.
Yeah.
That's
yep.
2.
Yeah.
That's 2.
What
Any
about
others?
Funky Ride? Because that's that joint I love because it's just so damn
I
like
got a
Uh,
whole
really
point on
funky.
that. It's
just
not
talking
on
about
there. It's not on there,
just
but yeah.
listening, I'm gonna go with Crumbling Herb.
Right.
Crumbling Herb is on there. There's 2 more. There's
Get
actually
Up, Get
3
Out.
more. Get Up,
Yep.
Get Out. That's 4.
Hootie Hoop.
Now there's 2 more. That's Hootie Hoo. That's 5.
Yeah.
Last one, according to
Uh,
to Essentials on Apple Music.
Ain't No Thing.
Ain't No Thing with a chicken way. That is on the list as well. So out of 28 songs, Apple says 6 of those 6 are
Damn.
essentials.
Oh.
Okay.
Dan, you disagree with this?
I mean,
none of those are bad songs, so but that's surprising that it's that many.
Right.
More than
Few
I
on the
thought.
Barbecue. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
Feud
a
on the
favorite of mine
Barbecue.
too. Yeah.
Prototype and She Lives in My Lap are also on here. So
Team
Well,
not fan
that's a
prototype.
whole nother.
I
That's a
mean,
whole nother
exactly.
no,
It
thing.
lives in my
becomes a
lap.
whole I wrote this nearly a decade ago because I get to recite things. I said, like Bugs and Daffy, Big Boy and Andre 3000 can work separately, but few would argue that they're not better when paired together. On this first album, they were still both close to their roots, but it's easy to hear the different realities each artist comes from. So, simple question. On this debut, who would you say is the better MC? Kenny, who's the better MC?
Andre 3000.
Matt?
I would say Three Stacks.
Dan?
I like Big Boy though, and I liked him.
I'm saying, see, now this is what I feel. That's why I wanted to preface it and talk about the whole experience that is Outcast and all this such like that before. We're just talking about on this album, on Southern Playalistic, who's the better MC, Andre or Big Boy? Kenny, you're going with Andre?
Absolutely.
Matt?
Yep.
You thinking with Andre Dan?
The thing is, Andre's even in this album, his thing is so distinct that like it's hard to argue against him. Like there's no one that sounds like him.
Rashawn, or I'll make the argument for Big Boy. So therefore, I'll make the argument that Big Boy is easily the better of the MCs in OutKast on
Easily.
this album, without question. He's the more refined for what organized noise beats have set him up for. He's older. You can hear the older in just what he's saying and everything like that. And you can hear that Andre's like a 16, 17-year-old who's still skipping school. Like that age difference is there. And I'm not look, once again, this is Penny and Shaq. Penny is better at that
Okay.
moment. Andre Big Boy's better at this moment.
Let
He's
me
not
ask you
gonna be
this.
he's not gonna be better next year. He's not
Well,
going to
that's what
be
I'm
the year
saying.
after that.
So
That's my
what
point.
happened to him? If you think it's just this album, what happened to Big Boy
I think
Can
I
and
I
think
Dre that made you
let me
switch?
jump in on this, Martin. Let me
go
jump in
ahead.
on this.
Go ahead.
I think what happened is Big Boy stayed talking about the players and the pimps and the hoes, and he didn't really mess with his material much. His delivery got better, his writing quality got better, but he was still talking about I'm a player from Savannah on Equimini. You
Yep.
know? You
Yep.
know?
Yep.
So
Yep.
You
I
can
Yep.
hear
mean,
you can hear the elevation of Dre. That was when like there's a distinct difference
right. Yeah,
because you
Dre
can
went
hear
crazy.
how
Yeah.
Yeah, Dre was like,
yeah.
I'm open up to new universes, you know? And he wrote like that. Like you hear the crazy stuff he's talking about, you're like, yeah, that's
Ripping
pretty dope.
atmospheres.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's you get the bed roots of it, but yeah, no. So then I guess I'll pass this question to you. Are there any tracks on this album coming back and listening that you skipped that you're like, all right, and moved on? You know
Um,
what? I'm go ahead. I'm gonna preface it by
I
just
mean,
saying, go
throwing out
ahead.
throw out the skits, I guess.
Well,
Is like you could always hear them one more time, but then usually you could skip those in general. There was nothing that was like no, honestly, there wasn't anything that was like that bothered me on that one. That's I think to the credit of that album, like that's why I think you could say like as a statement of like what's to come. Like this isn't one of those like there's three songs on here that you can tell why they're going to be great, but everything else is pretty rough and terrible. Like no, this is actually like if nothing else ever came out of theirs, just this, they'd have a claim to like a really great album. Like it sounds pretty cohesive all the way through. Nothing really feels like super off. I mean, I have to listen to it maybe like 10 times in a row, and I could, which I didn't, but I maybe find a song that I get sick of. But the
well,
couple
and
times I did it for this, nothing
you've
really.
you've you've kind of stabilized what I've been saying, which is this is Organized as Noise first album, and they have made this a complete sound. It's a complete album, but they also went with uh Club Donkey Ass, where your girl asks what I got to do to get a table dance, and then Funky Ride, which is a great track, but doesn't have Big Boy or Andre anywhere close to it. And then Flim Flam doesn't have them either. So in as the presiding argument attorney for the Black Star album, I, I'd say if you've got literally 10 minutes where I don't get either MC on it, and it's a great sound, and I'm certainly vibing on it as I'm rolling down I'm rolling down Old Nat in College Park, East Point. Let me see, it's College Park, Decatur, East Point, and the Bride. I still haven't figured out what she's saying there. Anybody? No,
No
no,
clue.
y'all know either. Y'all haven't figured it out either.
Yeah.
What Peaches is saying there,
Hmm.
because we're all in Atlanta. I'm assuming it's somewhere in Southwest, but I don't know
Yeah,
exactly where she's talking.
maybe
Well,
maybe Greenbrier. She just cut it off.
The Briar. Oh, you know what? That might be it right there. Talking about
Yeah,
the Briar. Okay,
yeah.
all
'Cause
right.
that's Campbellton Road and
That's
Washington Road over that way.
right
So,
all in there.
yep.
I
Shout
would
out Highway 166.
I would I would say one of the skippable tracks, like I said, there's that large run there, but Hootie Who, uh just mostly because I wanted to be able to talk about Andre talk about how a girl said her period was late. Guess what I did? Click. So did he do that to
Damn.
Erica, or was who's got his kid that, that he didn't do that to, or he thought about doing it to? Because he really did it to somebody.
Uh, Erica will have you doing crazy things, so we know he didn't do it to Erica.
Mhm.
Erica might have did it to him,
It's possible.
but everybody Erica talks to changes.
Yes, they do.
No, so who's got who's he got the kid with? That's what I'm
It's
blanking on right
Erica.
now.
It's
He does.
Erica.
All right,
It's
so it is
Erica.
Erica. All
Yeah.
right, so I was right on
Seven
that.
is the kid's name. Seven.
7.
Mm,
Yep.
all right, well,
See right there. That should tell y'all. His name is 7. That should tell y'all some shit is crazy.
all right.
Man, I moved down here in 97.
Hmm.
And can you imagine coming up from like the north, getting immersed into this like back then? Atlanta was like
Yeah,
a
that was one of
1,000
the
times different than it was now.
last couple of years of Freaknik.
I was gonna say
Yep.
right at the end of Freaknik and probably uh what's it called? Buckhead
Oh yeah.
still had the clubs and
Yeah.
everything like
No,
that. Once
Old
that
Buckhead was
was
still
finished,
Atlanta.
jumping. Yep.
Old Atlanta is so. I miss old.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
same. Old Atlanta was something different.
Yeah.
all right, we're talking about old Atlanta, Dan, unfortunately.
Sorry, Dan. Yeah.
Well,
You know, I would have loved to have been a cultural tourist around then. So
it would have
Goodness.
been so
Oh
good.
yeah, Atlanta was just the club culture was so much fun. It was just a party city. Yeah,
Yep.
now Atlanta's the scam capital of the world. It's different.
It's different. It's always different. Um, Mos Def and Talib Kweli seem different, but they were always together all the time. It felt like you always either they was on a track or they were on each other's albums or something like that. But they're both essentially solo artists, right? But that shouldn't diminish from the excellence they created together. To clearly have two gifted MCs, this is what I was saying. Y'all were talking about this before. Speaking about community upliftment was like a black star shining bright in the dark sky. I wrote in 2018, in an era dominated by scantily clad women posing as strippers and hangers on in every rap video and album cover, a track like Brown Skin Lady is an island against a tidal wave of commonplace mistreatment of the opposite sex. And while the title seems to focus on the brown skin, it's actually speaking to women of all color. It's speaking to an imaginary standard of beauty that convinces the masses to look one way instead of what they actually are. Yes, that was me. Very good writer, in case anybody's looking
Not bad.
for
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah, not
bad.
bad at all.
You,
Not
you,
bad.
you're all right.
I wasn't doing that for the points,
Not too
but
shabby.
all that to say, how much points, and you had mentioned about being different, how much points and credit do they get? Does Black Star and Black Star, do the two of them in 99 for dropping this album get just for being different, just for not talking about gangster shit and everything like that? You know what I'm saying, Kenny? You understand?
Oh, absolutely. And I think they get a lot of points for that because the hip hop landscape was really changing around that point. 99, it was still somewhat of the Jiggy era. Puffy still kind of had his hand in hip hop. The hip hop, the landscape was just totally different. And for Mos Def and Talib Kweli to really come out with that message meant a lot.
I mean, there was a like this is on Raucous Records, and there was a sound associated with that whole group of people as well. I mean, this is probably the best record on that label, like it probably was the most successful one, maybe, but like there was certainly like that independent, like the backlash to
Underground.
yeah, it was just like the underground, the independent, like independent as fuck is the motto of that label, and there was this built on some things that were starting like in that like 95, 96 was like what LP was doing and with company flow and that stuff, like that kind of birthed this label, and then you get this. I think they get some credit for it because again, like usually there's like it's reaction. The thing you have to ask yourself too is like, is it conservative? Like is it a reaction to like the culture has gone too far? We want to get back to something that's more traditional. It's kind of a weird way of thinking about conservative, but that's kind of what it is, right? Like it's like I don't like where things have gone. I want to go back, and this is a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
No, man, I was gonna say, are you gonna?
No, yeah, I was just gonna say this. I don't know if it's conservative in the sense that yeah, it's pushback. Maybe pushback's not the right word. Pushback against a lot of the stuff that was out there at the time. But I think we hit on it before. I think when we talked about duality of the culture or the duality of like a people, like Black folks, because you don't always Black people are not monolithic. Black people are different. I mean, you got people in the streets, you got people not in the streets, people trying to do what they need to do to survive. That's not like pushing weight, you know what I mean? So I think they spoke to that, and Martin mentioned it. I think he spoke to that other side that wasn't featured in a lot of hip hop. Where we know what makes money, what's profitable. This may not be as profitable, but this is still reality for a lot of people. So I think they spoke to that, and I loved it, especially if you could talk about that, and it could be you could groove to it, and you got people who are really putting words together that makes sense, that is dope. I mean, I think they managed to hit all of that, and I think that's what made that sound really, really good.
Yeah.
All that. Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say, go ahead, Rashawn.
No, I was just gonna add that they're both lyricists, and I think
Yep.
this album highlights that. And a bunch of hip hop at that time was not lyrically focused, right? So I think that's
Yeah.
what made them
Yep.
like, oh, like listen, they both can spit, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I
Hmm.
think that was the real kind of hook to it.
So for all that being said, Rashawn, what if any tracks were you or are you skipping on this?
Uh,
Really?
uh, Children's Story. Thought that was I thought that was kind of repetitive. I mean, I get it; they had their own take on it, but
Dude, get out of my head, bro.
Me too. I was thinking the same track.
yeah,
And the same reason, for the
yeah.
Right.
same reason too.
Yeah.
All right,
Any
so
other skip
now
tracks?
y'all got to pick another.
I was gonna say any other skip
I
tracks?
can't do it, man.
Kenny,
Same. I can't think of another one I would skip.
Dan, you got anything?
No, I mean, like I would have said the same thing because like it was cool, but like once you've heard it a couple of times, going back to it, it's still
No.
just an homage to Lick Rick anyway. So it's like
Yeah.
at some
Yep.
point, all right.
Yeah. Okay. I going back just because I wrote this. I quoted both albums in the article because it was 20 years at that point. It was 20 years plus. The words then still held weight 20 years later. They still hold weight a decade afterward. Um, all the stuff that I did, and the one thing that I do quote, and I can say it quickly. I don't know the poet who wrote this, but it was 3 a.m. we four deep at a light. If I could say it correctly, I would, but you guys know the quote that I'm talking about. We're waiting for a red light to tell us when to go. Um, all that to say, out of the four MCs that we're talking about, right? So Big Boy, Andre 3000, Mos Def, Talib Kweli. If we had to put them in order in terms of one, two, three, four, I'm not going to ask who the one, two are, but my guess is we're all going to put Talib Kweli as the four or no?
Yes.
Right.
So there's the head nods and there's nobody who's arguing about it, but his college educated verses are thick with issues and truths that are still prevalent today. And I'm sorry, I could say All right, but I say all that to go to all the spoken word stuff because I did want to say one of them, and I wrote it then, and I wrote it now because I do love it, which is, are you an outcast? If you understand and feel the basic principles and fundamental truths contained within this music, you probably are. If you think it's all about pimping hoes and slamming Cadillac doors, you probably a cracker. Or a nigga that think he a cracker. Or maybe just don't understand. An outcast is someone who is not considered to be part of the normal world. He is looked at differently. He is not accepted because of his clothes, his hair, his occupation, his beliefs, or his skin color. Now look at yourself. Are you an outcast? I know I am and wouldn't want to be anything else. Uh, like I said, this is Iverson versus the 95 Magic as far as I'm concerned. So who's moving on? Sean,
Penny and Shaq.
you got Outcast. Matt,
OutKast.
So
I'm just asking. I mean, I could argue, Dan. Who do you got?
I would put Black Star forward, just for the album. Again, like I think Outkast is. So this is not nothing against. Not that's not a slight to Outkast whatsoever. I think just on this album, I put it forward again. But like I also don't think that if you argue the other way that you're crazy. Like it's close.
It's a 2-3. I if I haven't made it clear, I think Black Star is the better of the two albums. That's my opinion. But Kenny, your thought?
Same. If this was a series, it's going the distance. It's going to Game 7, but Outcast wins.
Hmm. Well,
Close.
it's
Yeah,
the night. I
it's
just
a good
yeah.
matchup. It's a
Yeah,
semifinal
it
round.
is.
It,
Absolutely.
it is. It
Yeah.
is. But it's like an Elite Eight, but still, it's
Yeah.
actually these are tiers as others are moving on. Well, I mean, well, you know what? I say all that. This is an Elite Eight because the winner is going to get um Wu-Tang. So this is the group stage. So basically, so I said
Oh no.
this is so it makes sense that Iverson would go out now. Um, unfortunately, but yeah, no, I just just all right. I'm gonna move on to the trivia question, and
I never get these right. Go ahead, Mark. Ruin my day.
all right, it's a simple question. Outkast was together roughly 4 albums. All right, Speaker Box and The Love Below is their fifth, but that's two solo albums that they merged together. It's not Outkast. Black Star did one. And then each artist recorded solo albums and did other odd jobs. One dropped a couple albums and got shouted out by Jay-Z. If skill, soul, truth be told, I'd probably be lyrically, Talib Kweli. The other returned to his first love, legitimate theater, which is a Simpsons line with acting roles in Brown Sugar, The Italian Job, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I really thought Mos Def was just going to become an actor and he was just going to do that. Oh, by the
Mhm.
way, he held Yellow Cake in Napkin as part of one of the funniest sketches in human history. Please don't drop that cake.
Don't
Don't drop
drop
that
that
shit.
shit.
Whatever
Don't
you
drop
do.
Right.
I got this special CIA napkin. Yeah.
Pray to
Um,
God, don't drop that.
so it would be a time both would finally come back to release the follow-up Black Star project, No Fear of Time. But how much time was it between the debut and the next release for Black Star? So the question I'm asking for is the number of years between Mos Def and Talib Kweli are Black Star and No Fear of Time. It's a number. And Dan, what you got?
I think it's 27, isn't it?
All right, 27. Kenny,
uh,
Price is Right rule. So
go 22.
22. Matt,
17.
17. Rashawn,
I think it's like I'm gonna go 26.
You guys remember your numbers. I can't remember all of them to recount them, but thanks for listening. However, whether it's on Spotify, Pandora, or if you're listening on Apple Music, please leave a review. Please leave a review. You can watch this in every episode of the RDAT series at youtube.com/ at Terminal Pod. It's the channel for all your questions. The answer to tonight's trivia question will be in the description for this episode. I'll be back soon enough with hopefully something better to put down. At some point, we're going to have to get Wu-Tang versus OutKast, and there's a couple other matchups because now it just starts getting bloody. So thank you all for joining me here tonight. Take it easy down your life's highway and have a good evening.